Hi everyone and welcome to Wes Explains Best. Today we're doing a Kuta worksheet tutorial on multiplying a polynomial and a monomial. Let's go ahead and start with this. Now, polynomial, what does that mean? Well, it talks about many terms. That's like the simple definition of polynomial, whereas monomial is one term. So this isn't too complicated. Mostly it's just a practice in the distribution property. But we're going to show you how what you do in each step when we distribute. The tricky part here is understanding what to do with exponents and what to do with the coefficients. Okay, so right here we have this 8x, outside the parentheses, and inside the parentheses we have 6x plus 6. Now we have to understand like terms here. We have to understand that we cannot combine the 6x and the 6 to make that 12x. That's a common mistake that I see. Can't do that because they don't have the same variable to the same power. That's what defines a like term. Let me kind of write that up here. So we have like terms. An example of like terms would be 6x cubed and 6x cubed. Well, actually, we could make this minus about 4x cubed. That would give us 2x cubed, okay? Unlike terms, we would have something like 5x squared minus 2x. Those are not like because they don't have the same variable to the same power. So these cannot be combined. This is as simple as it gets. Okay, so that's as far as you can go. That's the first thing we have to recognize. The second thing we recognize is we have this term out in front, and it's a monomial. It's one term. This is a binomial, okay, or a polynomial inside the parentheses. But outside we have a monomial. This is the exact exercise. And we multiply just like we would distribute, just like a number. So if we had like 5 times x plus 1, it's the same thing. We would distribute this to both terms inside. Okay, so now it's just a little bit different because we have these coefficients in front. We have the coefficient in front of x and an x in front of there. How do you do this? Well, we have to understand the properties of exponents. We're multiplying 8x times 6x, and then we add this to 8x times 6. 8x times, I should make this a different color. Let's make it like purple. I'm going to change this one to purple too, sorry. Style, purple. Okay. So this is essentially what we're doing here. Okay, this is the distributive property that we're demonstrating. 8x times the 6x and then 8x times the 6. Now what happens here? Well, I already highlighted these are like terms, so we're going to multiply those two numbers together, the coefficients, and we get 48. Now we have the x. Notice how these x's, well, it doesn't matter when we're multiplying, but we have two x's. We have the same base. So we're going to keep the base the same. And now what we do is the property of exponents. Let's write properties of exponents. Okay, so when we have like bases, we add the exponents. So if we have x times x to the third, there's an implied, first off, there's an implied 1 there. So what this becomes is we keep the base the same and then we add the exponents. And if you want to see a further explanation on that, I've made some other videos that demonstrate this. Okay, so we did x to the first plus x to the third. So this gives us x to the fourth, okay, in this situation. Here we just have x to the first times x to the first, and that gives us x to the second power, okay? There's an implied 1 in both those spots, so it becomes x to the second power. We're going to keep this plus because there's a plus sign here, and this is a plus, that's a positive 8x, okay? And then we have 8x times 6. Well, again, we have the coefficients in front, okay? So 8 times 6 is 48. That stays the same. Okay, but now we just have x. So we just attach the x. There's nothing to multiply the x by, so we just keep the x by itself. Now, this is the part where we do not combine any further. We have an x squared here, we have an x there. They are not like terms. Okay, it's not multiplication. If it was multiplication, we'd be able to multiply them together. It's addition. So because it's addition, we just leave it like this. This is as simple as it goes. and we circle our answer. And that's what we're going to do. There's our answer. Okay? So the properties of exponents is something you need to know, and then like terms, combining like terms is something you need to know for this exercise. Let's go ahead and look at number 6. Sorry, just wanted to change my mind. What happens here? Well, we have a 2 out in front. This one's actually fairly simple, and we multiply it to both terms inside the parentheses. You'll notice that these can't be combined because we have an x and a y. They have to be the same variable, raised to the same power for them to add or subtract with each other. So we're going to multiply the coefficients. Okay, luckily this is fairly simple because we only have a number out in front. So we're just going to be multiplying those numbers out in front. So we have 18x minus 4y. Okay, that's what we're doing. We have 2 times 9x minus 2 times 2y. And that becomes negative 4y, positive 18x, and that's our final answer. There's nothing more that we can do with that. Okay, let's go to maybe a tougher one. Let's go to number 8, and then I'm going to go to number 9. We have can't combine inside the parentheses, so we're going to distribute. We're going to do 4a times 8a, and then our second parenthesis is 4a, or second series of multiplication, 4a times negative 8b. I like to consider this a negative 8b, and I like to copy that out in front. So we have 4a times 8b, but then I make it negative out in front because we have a positive and a negative is going to end up being a negative. If this were a negative, then if this were a negative in front, maybe I can find one that has that as an example. Looks like there's none on this worksheet. That's a shame. That's what I would do if I was making this. But if there's a negative out in front, for example, negative 2 times x minus 3, you would be negative 2x, and then it would be plus 6, okay? Because you have negative 2 times a negative 3 gives us a positive. In this case, it's just one negative, so it's going to be 32. Okay, now we have like bases. We're going to add the exponents. A squared minus, here we have 32 again. And this time we do not have like bases, so we don't add the exponents. We just go a times b. And that's our final answer. Let's go to one with 3 terms, which I already said I was going to do number 9. So let's go ahead and do that. If there's 3 terms, what do? Well, you can't combine inside the parentheses, so we're just going to distribute. We're going to multiply each one of these, okay, like that. So we get 3n times n squared. Now we have a minus, so I'm going to make sure I keep that minus 3n times 6n. Okay, now I have a plus, I'm going to make it plus 3n times 5. Now, you probably don't like writing this out each time. I do these steps in my head and just write the result. I am careful when I keep the signs, though. Be very careful with the signs. So as I do this, I get 3. There's no other number to multiply, no other coefficient. And then I have n times n squared gives me n cubed. There's an implied 1 there. 1 plus 2 is 3. Minus 3 times 6 is 18. N to the first gives me n to the second. And then plus 15n. And that's my final answer. Okay, let me show you what this looks like when you do it quickly. Okay, we'll go ahead to this one. So we're going to distribute. Okay, there's nothing to combine. Even though this has a v and this is v squared, they don't have the same power, nor do they have the same variables. It has to have all the same variables to all the same powers for them to be considered like terms. Now we have 2u times 6u. This is, I'll do different colors so you can see I'll do this one in purple, I'll do this one in magenta, and I'll do this one in like the pink, the salmon color. Okay. So the first one, I get 12u cubed. Okay, I multiply the numbers out in front. 6 times 2 is 12. U times u squared gives me u to the 3rd power. Okay, that's how that one works. I'm going to have a minus because I have positive times a negative. Positive times a negative. That's why I have a negative here. And then I have 18u squared and then the v. The v is by itself because there's no other v to multiply. Next one's going to be positive because we have a positive. Positive 2u v squared. And you'll notice that we have no other terms to combine. So then we are done here. Maybe just one more for good measure. We'll go ahead and do this one out right here. Now this one's a little bit tougher. Okay, so I'm going to do this all quickly now, all the same color, just so you get the swing of things. We get 9v squared. Now I'd like to put it in alphabetical order. U squared v squared plus 9u v cubed minus 45v to the 4th power. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time on Wes Explains Best.